President, I rise, and in a moment I'll ask unanimous consent to right a wrong that's lingered for over a century and to call up and pass H.R. 1964, the Lumbee Recognition Act. Prior to that, I want to say that I'm honored with my colleague, Senator Tillis, to represent the Lumbee people. The Lumbee are the largest Native American tribe east of the Mississippi River, with a membership of over 60,000. They have called the present-day counties of Robeson, Scotland, Hoke, Cumberland their home in North Carolina. They've been a cohesive part of the community in North Carolina for centuries, and they've developed unique tribal instructions that have served their membership well in the face of extraordinary adversity. They've been teachers, farmers, doctors, small business owners, sheriffs, clerks of court, state legislators, and judges. Many have protected our nation by serving in the armed forces. Their contribution to their community, to the state of North Carolina, to the country is innumerable. Their commitment to education is unparalleled. In the 1800s, the state authorized the tribe to run the state school district for Lumbee children. The state also authorized the opening of a specially advanced Indian school known as a normal school to train teachers to teach in Lumbee Indian schools. Although the state provided no money for construction for the facilities, the Lumbees pulled together and constructed an Indian normal school of their own. Since then, the Indian school has been in operation continuously. Today, it's the University of North Carolina at Pembroke. The state of North Carolina recognized the Lumbee tribe in 1885. 3 years later, the tribe began its quest for full recognition. Over the next 50 years, they repeatedly petitioned the federal government for assistance, but to no avail. Then, during the height of the shameful termination era, Congress passed the Lumbee Act of 1956. This partial recognition designated the Lumbees residing in Robeson and adjoining counties of North Carolina as the Lumbee Indians of North Carolina, while simultaneously blocking the Lumbees from accessing federal services, benefits available to other federally recognized tribes. It's nothing short of discrimination. To put this in context, 4 other tribes were terminated by Congress in 1956 like the Lumbees. All have had their federal recognition status restored. Only the Lumbees have yet to receive the full federal recognition they deserve. As a matter of fact, Mr. President, in 2018, this Senate recognized Indian tribes. In 2019, 7 tribes in Virginia were recognized by this Congress and this Senate. Mr. President, it's unfortunate while the Lumbee tribe is incredibly resilient, decades of discrimination have caused severe economic consequences for the people. Robeson is one of the poorest counties in the United States. The 1956 law has put them on an unequal footing compared to other federally recognized tribes, and it's prevented them from obtaining access to critical services through the Bureau of Indian Affairs and the Indian Health Service. This is simply unjust and it's immoral. To correct this injustice, since 1987, members of North Carolina's congressional delegation from both sides of the aisle have repeatedly come together to introduce the Lumbee Recognition Act, which would grant full federal recognition to the tribe. Over the past 11 years, I've been proud to be the lead sponsor of this legislation in the Senate, and it's always been a bipartisan effort. This year, this bill, led by a Democrat member of the House of Representatives, G.K. Butterfield, supported by Congressman Hudson and Congressman Bishop, both Republicans, last month passed the Lumbee Recognition Bill by voice vote unanimously. Let me say that again, by voice vote unanimously. You would think that this great deliberative body could process and understand the discrimination that's going on here to these folks. People claim that the Lumbees are not a tribe, yet read the statistics. It's the largest tribe east of the Mississippi River. I think they finally educated the House. But despite the overwhelming support for doing the right thing, Congress has yet to actually do it. Mr. President, the time for excuses is over. The time for action is now. It's time to finally do what should have been done 130 years ago. It's time for the federal government to recognize the Lumbees for the tribe they are. I've had a great partner in Senator Tillis, and I would yield to him for any comments he would like to make.
Mr. President.
Senator from North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Senator Burr for his leadership and leaning into this for many years before I even joined the Senate. I want to thank Senator Dole for filing this bill that actually even had Senator McConnell's co-sponsorship many, many years ago. I want to thank the Lumbee people for their patience, but quite honestly, when you're talking about the 9th largest tribe east of the Mississippi River, the 9th largest in the nation, and the largest tribe east of the Mississippi River, a tribe that has been seeking recognition since 1888. They were recognized as Indian by the state of North Carolina in 1885. In 1956, they were partially recognized. We heard a unanimous vote coming out of the House. They were prepared to provide recognition. And in November, we heard President Trump and Vice President Biden both say that they supported recognition. So we are so close. There is a compelling case. It is a century in the making. And the fact that we couldn't get this through today when it passed unanimously out of the House just a month ago, I think is a shame. So I appreciate Senator Burr for his patience and his tenacity. We're not going to let this go. Hopefully it gets done tonight. But we've got to recognize that the Lumbee people deserve recognition, they deserve respect, and they've been fighting for it for a century, and I'm going to fight for it as long as I'm in the U.S. Senate. I yield.
Colleague, and I'll reiterate, Mr. President, if for some reason there's an objection, and I think there will be tonight, either before we swear in a new Congress or after we swear in a new Congress, I promise my colleagues this place will come to a grinding halt, and we will take up, through regular order, the Lumbee Recognition Act. We'll debate it for as long as people want to, and we'll make the case as to why this discrimination is despicable. So at this time, as if in legislative session, Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on Indian Affairs be discharged from further consideration of H.R. 1964 and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration. I ask unanimous consent that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Is there objection?
Mr. President,
Senator from Montana.
I object.
Objection is heard.
My colleagues for their time tonight, and I urge all of our colleagues to prepare. This will be back up. I yield the floor.